Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking complex philosophical blogs and dense cognitive science papers and turning them into a visual journey. We're unpacking the absolute ultimate question. Do we actually have free will?
So let's just dive right in with a super direct question. Did you actively decide to be here right now reading this, or were you biologically destined to do so? I mean, think about it. Are the decisions we make every single day the result of our own conscious volition, or are they just the inevitable output of a biological machine?
A commenter on Amit Sodha's personal development blog beautifully summarized our intuitive, everyday baseline with this famous pop culture quote. And it hits the nail on the head, right? As humans, we desperately want to believe we're the authors of our own stories. We genuinely feel like we are the ones in charge. But, as we're going to see, modern science is starting to put a massive amount of pressure on that exact feeling.
Here is our roadmap for the explainer today. We'll start with fate versus free will, then the power to choose, dive into the threat of neuroscience, ask what is true freedom, move into defending the torn decision, and finally synthesize it all with, are we really free? Let's get into it.
All right, Section 1, Fate versus Free Will, Navigating the Intuitive Philosophy of Choice. Sodha's philosophy brilliantly illustrates how we can basically accept that some events are totally fated or just out of our hands, while maintaining that our response to them is entirely our own free will. The universe might throw a total curveball at you, a sudden job loss or an unexpected delay. But the way you process it, the way you react and move forward, that is not set in stone. That's on you. Moving right along to Section 2, the power to choose, exploring micro-scenarios and daily life. The crucial point here is that whether you're dealing with an unexpected tragedy or simply deciding what to grab for lunch, we all intuitively feel we possess this absolute power to hit pause and intentionally dictate our mindset. Sodha views this as the ultimate gift of volition. And let's be honest, it's an incredibly comforting way to live, treating life as if we are the primary decision makers at literally every crossroad.
But brace yourselves for Section 3, the threat of neuroscience. Does biological determinism totally destroy choice?
Now, this is where things get kind of wild. Dozens of psychological studies actually demonstrate that our consciousness is incredibly sluggish, and we often completely invent the reasons for why we do things. For instance, in an emergency, like swerving your car to avoid an accident, your conscious awareness completely lags behind your physical reaction. And it gets crazier. Experiments show we can even be tricked into thinking we intentionally performed actions that someone else actually did. No way, right?
A dense, peer-reviewed cognitive science paper by Mark Bolliger, published in Frontiers in Psychology, takes this threat to a whole new level. He digs into these empirical findings to see if they truly destroy the concept of free will altogether. And as he points out, the most dangerous threats don't just come from our sluggish consciousness, they come straight from actual brain scans.
Consider the terrifying Libet and Haynes studies, which lay out a genuinely shocking timeline. Up to 10 full seconds before your mind consciously decides, unconscious brain activity actually predicts your choice. By negative 0.5 seconds, a readiness potential spikes. By the time you hit 0 and consciously decide, your brain has already pulled the strings. In the famous Haynes study, subjects were told to randomly press a left and right button. Using fMRI scanners, researchers found unconscious neural activity that predicted which button the subject would press long before the person actually felt they had made a choice. It literally makes it look like your brain is the one in charge and your conscious mind is just along for the ride. Which brings us to Section 4. What is true freedom? Rescuing free will through cognitive science.
So, Balaguer introduces this concept called Nell freedom. To strip away the academic jargon here, non-epiphenomenal basically just means your conscious thoughts aren't useless byproducts. They are the actual engine causing your body to move, completely undetermined by past events. Balaguer argues that as long as some of our conscious decisions fit this description, well, free will is safe. But he does admit that not all of our actions make the cut.
It's all about the difference between a leaning decision and a torn decision. A leaning decision is driven deterministically by reasons.
like taking a high-paying job in a city you already absolutely love. You have overwhelming reasons, so your choice is basically determined by those reasons. But a torn decision? That's where the options are exactly tied, like picking chocolate or vanilla ice cream. You feel completely neutral, and you just have to pick. Balaguer argues that this specific type of choice is the true battleground for free will.
Okay, Section 5. Defending the torn decision. The scientific counterargument to determinism.
This is a brilliant counterargument from Balaguer. He says, wait a minute, in the Haynes study, subjects weren't actually making spontaneous choices. If you're told to pick a number but wait a minute to say it, your brain subconsciously forms a plan immediately and just stores it. Balaguer points out that the brain regions lighting up 10 seconds early in that study, they're actually associated with storing plans, not making free conscious decisions. So Haynes didn't disprove free will at all, he just proved we are terrible at not forming unconscious plans.
So the big takeaway here is that while everyday routine actions might be totally automated by our brains, the truly torn decision remains the scientifically viable space for absolute free will. We don't need to consciously control every single footstep we take to be free. We just need to know that when we reach a genuine fork in the road, where all reasons are perfectly balanced, our conscious mind actually steps in as the ultimate undetermined tiebreaker.
Finally, Section 6. Are we really free? Synthesizing fate and neuroscience. It's pretty amazing how Ahmed Soda's philosophical blog perfectly aligns with Balaguer's hard cognitive science here. Our past might totally shape our circumstances, but in the exact moment of a completely torn decision, our future is free. We don't have to deny the fact that a ton of our lives are driven by unconscious habits or external fate. The science simply shows that these deterministic forces do not rule out genuine, conscious agency when it really counts. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder the next time you're agonizingly stuck deciding between chocolate and vanilla. Are you just defaulting to an unconscious script, or is that exact moment of hesitation the second your true free will comes alive? Thanks for hanging out with us for this explainer, and definitely keep exploring the fascinating mechanics of your own mind.